Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you today? I am so excited to bring to you a dear friend of mine who has up-leveled her business in so many ways since I've known her. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Lisa Balthaser. I run Lisa Solutions. I am a business coach and consultant, and I help you grow and scale your business online. And today's business spotlight is going to be with Debbie Burns, and you guys are in for a treat today. So Debbie is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Goodness gracious, FDNP for short. And she's also a holistic health coach. Debbie has added new services and created a program to help her clients stop chasing symptoms and get to the bottom of their issues, and feel good again. Okay. She works with women to help them crack their personal health code using biochemistry so that they can feel sexy, confident, and know exactly what to give their bodies. So today, you will learn more about Debbie and why she is so passionate about helping others find the missing pieces to their health puzzle and have peace of mind for life when it comes to their health. As a matter of fact, it is her mission. So let's get started. Okay, so Debbie, I'm going to ask a few questions just so the audience can get to know you and learn more about the services that you provide. I know I am totally amazed by everything that you've been doing. So the first question I have for you, what are some of the reasons you are so passionate about helping people live healthier lives?
Thank you, Lisa, for having me today. It all started with my own personal health journey, and I had set out to become a holistic health coach because I was entering my 40s. I was gaining weight, couldn't figure out what was going on. I rarely went to the doctor, but when I had to, they just said, you're getting older. So I always felt like, I had to become my own health advocate. And if I was having that experience, I knew other people were having that experience. And, once I started out on my own healing journey and started to work with other clients, I realized that, yeah, I wasn't alone. And so it really became my mission to help people become their own health advocate.
That's really awesome. And it's funny because so often in our own lives we go through things and we find those solutions, and we just want to share with other people because we so frustrated our own capabilities in finding the answers. So I think that's amazing that you're doing that. So what are some of the obstacles that you had to overcome along the way?
In my own journey, some of the obstacles I had to overcome was helping my practitioners like stop and listen to what I'm saying. Because the experience that I had was that they were listening to prescribe, they were listening to treat. And that's not what I needed. I needed someone that would uh, guide me, support me, listen to me, to kind of empathize and figure out, okay, listen, I hear everything you're saying, and look at like my whole self, not just my symptoms. And so part of the obstacles became, how do I figure this out on my own if nobody is going to be on my side and they only want to give me prescriptions? And so sometimes they were trial by error, methods that I had to figure out. Some worked, some didn't, and yeah, made my mistakes along the way. Figured out a lot of really good things, but it all took time.
Yeah, I'm sure it took a lot of time actually, because I've been there myself, so I can really empathize with what you're saying because when I have been looking for solutions in my own life, I've been looking for a holistic solution. I don't want a band-aid, which is medication or a prescription. I want to get to the bottom of what is really wrong. And that's one of the things that has always bothered me about our healthcare system. While, it's considered the best in the world, it still has its flaws. And I think that's one of them. And I think people are really starting to see that over the past few years. I think people really, really got to see that up close and personal.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
know,
agree with that.
yeah. So since you've had your business now, I've known you a long time. And I've seen your business change, but the audience doesn't know you. So how has your business changed from when you started until now, and what prompted the changes that you've made? Because you made some big changes.
Yeah, yeah. So my business really began with helping women, learn some natural ways that they could address their symptoms. So they were looking for relief care. And while for many years, you know, they were successful in relieving, some of their symptoms, the problem was they would get relief, but they would never truly go away because, I mean, they didn't realize it at the time, but there were other things going on in the body that were causing these symptoms. And so, my business has gone from just helping people feel better to helping them figure out what the heck is going on in their body, like where is that dysfunction coming from, and realizing that their body is unique. So there is no one size fits all kind of diet or way of eating, um, even with hormones, digestive. And until you get to the bottom of what your biochemistry is doing in your body, you're not going to be able to figure out. You won't have that lifelong health that you truly desire. So that's really what's changed. We get to the bottom. We see exactly, when we look at all the body systems, we get to see what is out of balance. And now we know where those healing opportunities are. So before, my clients, if they would go to their doctor would, if they ran a lab test, they're looking at like one thing. And the goal is to diagnose or treat. And how I'm different is I don't diagnose or treat. I'm looking for healing opportunities and looking at the whole body.
That's fascinating. That last part that you just said, that was really fascinating to me. When they're looking at the blood work or whatever tests have been done, they're looking to diagnose or treat, where you are looking for an opportunity for them to heal, which
Mhm.
I think is a totally different thing. And and it's actually, if more doctors did that, well, maybe they put the pharmaceuticals out of business. I don't know. but yeah, so I think this is really fascinating because there's more than one. They always say there's more than one way to do things. And while treating things is important, and I would never want to take that away from somebody, getting to the bottom and to the actual solution to solve it is more important than treating it. um,
Mhm.
because if you just treat it without getting to the bottom of it, you're still always going to have that problem.
Yeah, you still, since there's so many dysfunctions going on in the body, when you like look at a scale, right? If something is off on one side, the other side is going to be off and out of balance. And so that's what's happening. You might, have better digestive health, but you didn't even address your hormones because you didn't know exactly what was going on.
Yeah, and hormones are huge. Hormones play a huge part in, especially women's health and what's going on in their life, their bodies, et cetera, et cetera. Women's health is just really based a lot on hormones, and I think it's fascinating that more doctors don't really zero in on that. Instead of put a band-aid on the hormones, like really get to the bottom of helping women work through them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is fantastic. So what are some misconceptions people have about health coaches and others who help with nutrition?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, well, and this is what I got a lot. When they inquired about working with me, they thought that I would give them recipes and a diet to follow. And that's not what I do. That's a dietitian, a nutritionist. And I also think that they health coaches aren't able to diagnose, they're not able to treat, and so I don't think that they're taken seriously. And there is a difference, and I believe that there's a difference between a health coach and a functional health coach. And the certificate that I have, the certification FDNP, really that is short for functional health coach, because a functional health coach is going to look at the whole person just like a functional, doctor would. We're going to look at the whole person, and we're there for guided therapy and support and education at the same time. Because while, a dietitian could put you on a diet, maybe they're having you follow like a calorie count. That's that's not the that's not what's going to help your body function better, because there are so many other things going on. But yeah, part of my responsibility as a functional health coach is to really listen to the client. And when someone's hiring me, we're going to do an intake form, we're going to do a metabolic analysis, and we're going to do what's the other thing we do? Why am I drawing a blank? Well, anyways, there's this very thorough analysis and questionnaire that they're going to fill out, and this is going to help give me a really big picture of what's going on with not just their diet, but their lifestyle, their
Mhm.
stress levels, their current fitness routine if they have one. So we're able to really look at the big picture. I know I keep going like this, but when I get that information and my clients have their functional labs done, when they get their results, I can clinically correlate what is happening. Like, we see the markers, but we also see what's going on with them, with their health and their lifestyle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Um, yeah, you've shared with me in in pretty decent detail, like how you're working with clients now, and I found it truly fascinating, like the depth that you go into everything with your clients. um, if somebody is serious about their health and getting healthy and living a really fantastic life and feeling great doing it, I think it is well worth the investment to work with someone like you to get to the bottom of it instead of going through life and putting band-aids on all of the things that crop up. So that being said, what are some common things that common reasons that people would need an FDMP, such as yourself, um, or maybe some symptoms or things that are going on that they may want to seek out somebody such as you to help them get to the bottom of what's going on?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, if you went to your doctor for the support, and and I'm not bashing doctors. I am not. I think that there's a lot of good doctors out there, and many of them are saving lives every single day. So it's much, much needed. It's really the healthcare system. They're, because they're focused on sick care. Their goal is to treat and diagnose.
Mhm.
So when you're looking at just one thing, or even maybe say two things, something is going to get missed. And you won't truly have that lifelong health. And when you're not looking for healing opportunities, that's where you're just going in for that diagnosis and treating. So when my clients come to me, some of their common complaints might be some weight issues. Maybe they have belly weight and they work out and they're eating clean. That was exactly my story. They may be having some issues that they think are related to hormones, and they very well may be. Low energy is very common. And so the reason you want to look to work with an FDNP is not, I mean, yes, there's definitely built in accountability there, but there's also a lot of education that you normally wouldn't get when working with a health coach, or your doctor. In fact, when my clients do their functional lab testing and I get their results, and we meet for their results review session, I actually recommend that they share with their doctor what they're currently doing, because what they're doing with me is actually a health rebuilding program. And this is where we're going to be working on diet. We're going to be working on rest, exercise, reducing stress levels. We'll be doing supplementation to help replace what the body is missing, to help strengthen the systems, so that it can function optimally, not just get by, but to function optimally. Because the human body was designed to innately function, like know how to function and be able to heal. But unfortunately, we live in an environment in this world where we are just bombarded with all kinds of toxins that break down our bodies.
So yeah, it's so true. I see Sandra comment. Sandra commented. Um, she said, "We need you out there making a difference in the world."
Thanks, Sandra.
I think that's awesome because actually, Sandra is she actually does something that kind of aligns with what you do. So I could see you guys having a conversation at some point. Yeah. So I think this is fascinating, Debbie. And here's the thing, like, you were just talking about, how you would walk people through what getting to the bottom. And I actually watched you from a distance, albeit, but watched you kind of go through this process yourself. And I remember when we met up, oh gosh, it was last summer, and went to Lancaster. And I know you and your husband were in the diet, you were going through the food things, trying to figure out what was affecting your health. And that's, it's kind of a tedious process, but from what you've told me, the improvements that you've seen have made it all worthwhile. And I know I didn't really discuss this with you, but would you mind sharing some of the things that have happened for you personally and going through the process that you are helping others with now?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because what the other part of why, like, I'm so passionate about what I do is there was a point in my journey where I was really starting to lose hope that this is the way it was going to be. And as I'm getting older, I didn't want to continue worrying about my health. So I decided, so back in 2015, I had basically had gotten rid of a lot of things in my home's personal care products, cleaning products that had chemicals in them. And so I was fairly healthy. I mean, I believed I was healthy. I was eating healthy. I was exercising, doing crazy stuff, and um, but I had this all over body rash, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Went to doctors. recommended to dermatologists, allergists. And my intuition told me that it had to do with diet and lifestyle. But they all said, nope, that's not it. That can't be it. And I thought it was hormones too. So that's when I started to take matters into my own hands. I was able to figure out what was going on my own, and I did get better. But this is key. That wasn't the only thing going wrong in my body. And
Mm.
that's when I discovered that last year when I began working with an FDNP and I had my labs taken. And when I discovered where those imbalances were, where those healing opportunities were, I was able to go from barely recovering from my workouts to so much energy. I slept through the night soundly. I would wake up without my alarm clock. I had that last December, I had not December, it was like September through December, I had this chronic like pain in my foot and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Went to the podiatrist, sent me for an x-ray, sent me for an MRI, sent me for a circulation test, right? Imagine how much that costs, right? Luckily I have insurance, but it cost me time at the same time. So I just figured I'm going to have to live with this because nobody could figure it out. Well, once I had started my health building program on myself, after about 30 days, I had no more pain. I
Wow.
was able to run with no issues. My eyesight improved, my bloating went away. I was having chronic acne before my health rebuilding program. I have no acne, have a little cold sore right now, but but no chronic acne. And when I think back to and there were other things going on, but one thing that really surprised me when I had my labs done were how low my hormones were. Like I was shocked. I was shocked that I discovered I had some blood sugar dysregulation going on, which helped me understand, what was going on with my weight. So really just everything just completely shifted. And I just found myself thinking, God, more people are like me are needed out there. And me was the last person I had to see to feel better. And that's how I feel. Like I want to be the last person other women need to see to, have that lifelong health.
Oh, that's amazing. I know because you've shared with me about your eyesight actually improving, and I was like, what? That's amazing. But yeah, and I think now I've like I said, I've known you for quite a while, and you have always, and here's the thing, guys. So even if you're healthy, it doesn't mean you're healthy. Because I've known Debbie for a really long time. Debbie's always been thin, she's always been fit, she's always exercised, and she's always been one of the most healthiest eaters I've ever known. Okay. Like you go to her house and she's giving you health food. So it's it's not like Debbie was out there leading this unhealthy life. She did all the right things, and still there were so many things that she found improvement from by going through this system. So now working with you, I guess what is the one of the things that would do you think would kind of stop people from working with somebody like you, and what would you tell them? I know that's not exactly something we discussed, but
Yeah, yeah. I think a few things. Time would stop people from considering working with someone because they're so focused on just getting through their busy lives. But honestly, if someone is not feeling well, they're not feeling their best, and everything they're trying is not helping, not making your health a priority and making time for it is only going to make your health worse. And that's going to cost you, and you're going to have even less time to do the things that you're doing now because you're going to become unhealthy, and your poor health is going to stop you from doing things. The other is money. A lot of people think that, I don't have the money for this. But, another perspective is, I think too many people go through their days, months, years looking at their body, taking advantage of their body, and thinking of it like a black box. Every day it wakes up for me, every day it walks, it does stuff, and it's always going to be there for me.
Mm.
But I think if we look at our health differently, in a way, like, let's look at our bodies as a temple. Let's show our bodies some gratitude by investing in it, because health is going to cost you. Poor health is going to cost you more than just money.
Mm.
You're gonna miss out on life. You're gonna miss out on opportunities, possibly even relationships. Where when you have good health, you've got like, you can take advantage of all opportunities.
That's a really good point that you made there at the end, because they always tell you when you're on an airplane, put your oxygen on first and then save the other people.
Yeah,
Because you can't do anything unless you save yourself first. And that's kind of what you just said.
yeah.
Um, and
And
and it's
if you're a woman and you have, whether you have young kids or teenage kids or adult kids, the priorities you make for good health is, it's what you're teaching your children,
mm,
like that
that's a good.
next generation. Yeah.
That's a great point. And because these days the food is a lot different now than it was when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And that's not that long ago. But it's changed quite a bit since then. And it's going to continue changing from everything that I can see. And there's so many things that we are consuming that can really wreak havoc on our bodies. And it's really important for us to really understand that and know how to not only manage it, but avoid it happening to begin with.
Mhm.
Um, so, what are some tips that you would say to the average person to help them out with their health right now?
Lower your stress. That would be the number one thing. Number two would have to do with diet. Um, and when I say stress, I guess I would lump sleep in there, because when we're sleeping, this is when our bodies are able to heal. And there's, if you're not getting enough sleep, your body is going to be at a deficit every single day. But when you allow your body to be constantly under stress, your body doesn't give the cortisol the opportunity to come back down, and it's always on like this high alert. So your brain is always on high alert, and our bodies weren't meant to be on high alert all the time. We were built to be able to respond to stress, but then come back down.
Mhm.
But most people, they're on high alert all the time. So you're really going to burn out your adrenals. And there's so much, like, there's this stress cascade that happens in the body. And that's what's going on. And that's what's causing all the dysfunction. So finding a way to learn how to respond to your stress, because maybe there's nothing you can do really to take certain things off your plate. There can be if you get creative and you look at it a little bit differently. I have clients and friends that they like to be in control. And so, like, they feel like they've got to do everything and they have to say yes to everybody. And that causes stress. So, learning to say no, learning to, prioritize what's important. Um, that would be key. And then as far as diet, my response is not going to be a popular one, but it would be to remove sugar, just completely remove sugar. If you have to start slow by just removing, artificial sweeteners, and then do like white sugars, that would be okay. And then um, white, anything white, you know.
So I have a question for you regarding sugar, because you just mentioned, you said to remove sugar and then you started with artificial sweeteners. So my question is going back to that. So are you saying that you should take sugar and artificial sweeteners out of your diet?
Yeah.
All artificial sweetener, including say monk fruit? Um,
Monk fruit, I would say would be okay, because that doesn't affect the blood sugar like sugar does.
yes.
And sugar comes in so many forms. Like if you were to Google, what is sugar? What are other names of sugar? You'll be able to, find some common things. But definitely artificial sweeteners, because they have chemicals. You become addictive to them. They wreak havoc in the body. They're also hormone disruptors.
That's what I wanted
They
to say. Because I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And white sugar is very addictive. It's like it's what cocaine does for the body is sugar is doing the same thing.
Wow.
And yeah, those would be the top two things I would say, just eliminate.
So that being said, and I know we've all heard this before. Eliminate sugar. We've all heard this before, and it's so hard for people to do. Um, so I guess what my next question to you would be, and again, we didn't talk about this, but this is, like, I love how the conversation just flows, because I think it's beneficial to people. Um, so for people that really do want to eliminate sugar and they're struggling with it, like, how how would you recommend that they do it? Because it's so hard. Because like you said, it's kind of like cocaine in the brain, and your body is craving it and wanting it. So it's so difficult for people to actually eliminate it.
Yeah. So what I did was I started to look at sugar as um, like just very bad for me. And actually I was doing this 30-day sugar detox, and I was at um I was out one evening with some friends, and it was so much fun. We were on this rooftop deck, and they had like a restaurant. We had already eaten dinner, and my one friend says, "Let's get some dessert." And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm happy to go, but I'm not having dessert. This is what I said to myself. So, we're sitting down, we have the menus, and she's like, "What are you going to get?" And I'm like, I'm not going to get anything because I don't want any cancer tonight, because I look at sugar as like it's that bad. So when you have that kind of perspective, that'll help you make better choices. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but what I started to do was I instead of approaching it in a way where I was depriving myself, I thought to myself, what could I replace it with? Now,
Mm.
at the time, monk fruit wasn't even available. I think stevia was the only option, but I'm not a fan of that just because of the aftertaste. But I know it works for some people. But I would add things like cinnamon or vanilla. I'm really big into essential oils. I'm a doTERRA wellness advocate, so I would add things like lemon essential oil, wild orange essential oil, because they added like that little note of sweetness, or maybe even cinnamon oil. So I just looked at what could I replace it with that would also be healthy. And what happens over time is your craving for it stops. It Your palate changes. I remember going into New York, and my friend wanted to take me to the cupcake place that was always on Sex and the City. And she's like, you got to get a cupcake from here. And I'm like, let's go. And I had a cupcake and it was so sweet. Like I had to take the icing off. And for me, icing was always the best part.
I've
So
had that experience before with sugar when I cut down a lot, and then
yeah,
I think I had a soda or something. And I was like, oh God. I was like, how can people even drink this? It's a shock to your
yeah,
system.
yeah. And I was a big dessert eater, like cheesecake, ice cream, and I mean that stuff's still good, but I started to replace it with fresh fruit instead. But also when if you don't eat a balanced meal, the right ratio of protein, carbs, fat, that's going to produce those sweet cravings. So
Mhm.
just learning to, figure out what that ratio for me was is what really helped.
Right. Now you did just say something, and I know you didn't mean it like it kind of hit my ear, but it hit my ear like that because I know sugar. We've been seeing over the past few years cancer rates go extremely high, and sugar has been known to feed cancer, basically. So when you said that, that was like the first thing that came to my mind, even though that's not how you meant what you said. So I did want to kind of point to that, also because, you know, over the past few years, we've all gone through like so much, with our health. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that hasn't thought about their health in the past couple years. So,
Yeah.
just the fact that knowing that sugar feeds cancer should be enough to actually, make you not want to eat it. I know that's really, it's harsh, but it's so true. And I think about that every time I have something with sugar in it now,
Yeah.
because I know that that's a fact. So yeah, no, this was fantastic. Do you have any? I just want to wrap up. Do you have any resources or freebies that are helpful to our audience, or
Yeah, I have a blog on my website, www.debbieaburns.com. You could grab a free Ideal Health discovery call with me if you'd like to, learn a little bit more about what it is I do and how I can help you. But I also, on my blog, I have a lot of great resources that, if you apply any of the things that I talk about, you'll definitely get some huge wins.
okay? So, yeah, that I don't know. That link doesn't look like it worked, but probably needs the HTTPS. But yeah, so I know that, I know we had you had what did you mention the course that you have?
Oh, my total transformation program. That is yeah, that's the year health building program.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
that's an awesome program. I know you discussed that with me, earlier, and
Yeah,
uh,
and I have another program coming up pretty soon. It's a 3-month program. If you go onto my website, sign up for my newsletters, you'll definitely get notice about it. And it's going to be a mini program to start taking, like dipping your feet in the water.
right, okay, that's awesome. Like I said, if you guys have not checked out Debbie, check her out. She has done some amazing things in her transition. She is really dedicated to helping other people because she's gone through so much herself, and she doesn't want you to go through all the things and take the long path like she did. So I think this was a great conversation. I want to thank you for coming here today, and I want to thank the audience and encourage, them to reach out to you and learn more about you. You are an amazing wealth of information and knowledge on the subject of holistic health. I know I have used you as a resource many times because you just have such a vast knowledge of what you're talking about. So I think this has been amazing. And I want to thank everybody for being here today, and definitely check Debbie out. If that link doesn't work, I will put the link back in underneath the video. So try that. And if it doesn't work, I will put another one in there. I don't know why it's not copying correctly. But thank you guys for being here today. You guys have a great day. And thanks, Debbie.
Thank you, Lisa.